Yeah. There was a time when I was young. I wouldn't say young. Yeah, it would be young. 28, 27. Yeah, I did a whole series of videos about being 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And I said it's the exact same difference as an 8-year old and a 13-year old. Half the time. I said when you're 20, and then 30, that 10-year period went at a different rate than when you turn 30 to 40. And again, between the age of 40 and 50, again, the amount of time that it takes for that to pass alters in your mind. And if you think about, again, second graders and fourth graders, you see the fourth grader looks at the second grader that's just 2 years younger than them as just a little kid because they're so old and cool now. It never changes. Sorry to say. Hmm. Just one of those truths. There's trials and tribulations to each stage of your life. When I look at my life, I look at it because, well, until I was I think I was 32, when I started seeking out help. I just had this terrible uh, distaste for the world and for myself, really, for what I would put my mom through. It's almost like I intentionally made her life miserable. You know what I mean? And to anyone, any psychologist looking probably would have noticed right away what was going on, but I didn't know. She didn't know. But it had to do with my anger to her for not stopping the abuse that she could have stopped at any time. And that's separated our family basically, because you had this jealous Mexican nutcase showing up every weekend, choking your mom, or sneaking around your back all camoed up with a rifle and shit. Just fucking nutcase crap. And see, they didn't have to experience it because they were just too young. But my other two sisters and me, we had to go through it every weekend. The only time, or during the, when they would, when my three brothers and sisters went to his house, that was the only time we had peace. Was when they weren't around. And so that just kind of grew into a habit throughout our lives. That's just how it's been. It's a shame, but that's the truth. And I just made my mom's miserable because I know she could have stopped it at any time. And I asked her, and she said, well, that's your brothers and sister's father. And I just thought, that's not good enough. What about us three? We're being tortured to fucking death, okay? Mentally and physically abused by this fuck my whole life. I'm sorry, it's just not acceptable as an excuse or a reason. And see, that's where my anger came from. Could have stopped it at any time. The truth will set you free. And it does. It lets you understand some of the stupid fucking choices and decisions you make throughout your life. You know what I mean? And you'll get wiser and gain wisdom as you get older. But really, there's kind of an age you get stuck at. I'd say mine's like between 25 and 30. You get stuck at mentally. And you keep that right up to your last days. It's just your body just grows old, but your mind does not. I always wanted to be adventure on the edge of danger, just, yeah. Literally, my nickname was Darren Laren. I mean, how many 16-year-old, how many 15-year-olds got to chase their friends in an airplane? There was 3 of my friends were fishing. I've actually made videos and shown people where the area was at. They were fishing on shore, and I came at them in an airplane. It was me and Chris White, I think, were flying that day. And I flew straight at him and straight at him. See, I knew there were no wires on the telephone poles. Those had gone a long time ago. People cut them down for the copper. And I just, basically, they thought I was going to run into them. And all of them ended up diving and hitting the ground face first. And that was a story around town for a very long time. I'm supposed to be here because the stupid shit I did. I just, there's no other explanation for me being here. The miracle of having whoever that was that saved me when I drowned, the guy who wouldn't give up, the guy who had all the skills, and not just that, but the luck and the ability to actually swim out that far and find me, and knowing that I was in trouble. It's just a miracle. Still don't know why I'm here, man. Every time you age 10 years, every decade, you're going to look at that. You're going to look at the last 10 years as something totally different. Usually disappointing to a degree. Because you learn so much in the next 10 years that you're like, if I only known that then. And we're really good at hindsight. Yeah, it's a big difference. I kind of divide my life into three areas. The first one was struggle and bad decisions. The second was coming to terms and learning. And then the third was changing who and what I am into what I wanted to believe I was, which was a good person. And here I am. You see, I need to be worthy in order to pass anything along, in order to have you believe me. Then I have to prove to you over a long period of time that I'm consistent, constant, honest, open, don't hide anything. Right? The people that were there on the Gamers page for 15 years, they all knew. I don't know if I'll be going back there. They targeted that page big time. Too soon old and too late smart. I could have benefited really early on, especially after the trauma in grade school that I went through. I could have benefited from some help then, but it just wasn't available, you know. They still let teachers and shit spank you in class, and they were more than willing to do that. Yeah. Too soon old and too late smart. And the older you get, the faster time goes by. The less time you have to make good choices. I can give you a good piece of advice. If you make choices that are based on other people and not yourself, your life will usually be much happier.